one of my clients is terrible at sales, but still he has a 71% closing rate, and here's a screenshot to prove that. How? Because the 4-step system I'm about to show you not only makes sure 70 to 90% of leads show up, but also make sure they're fully nurtured and ready to buy, making the sales calls 10 times easier. Now, before I get into that, this is how most people's post-booking or show process looks like, right? So let's say their setter reaches out on Friday, gets an appointment booked for Monday, right? Now, this is what happens between Monday and Friday. Okay, so the setter says, hi, I just wanted to confirm your booking for Monday. Prospect says, yeah, I'll be there, right? Awesome, speak soon. And that is the end, right? Now, what happened here is only one-time call confirmation. You didn't really confirm the call again with the prospect, which is important because people these days are extremely busy. Like, if someone just confirmed the call with me once and the call is like 5 days later, I would probably still forget about it because I've got a shit ton of things to do. Now here, also, there is no rapport building or pre-selling whatsoever. As a result, people either do not show up or show up cold, right? Which is a really big problem because it's going to just make your sales process way harder. Now, here's a fix to this. So step 1 is to have a nurturing conversation. Now, here's how it works, right? So your setter or your closer, what happens is do not end the convo after confirming about the call, okay? You continue the conversation with the prospect, right? Then what happens is when you continue the conversation, you actually build rapport by asking non-business related questions, right? And you actually hype them up about the call, right? Because what happens is when you actually hype someone about the call, they actually get excited for it and they want to show up for the call, right? So that's what you do here. And most people, what they do is they're just trying to sell them, all right? Now, what happens is when you only ask business related questions during this nurturing conversation phase is people think that, you're just trying to sell them again and again, right? But when you actually ask non-business related questions, it makes them feel like this person is actually trying to know me, right? Which is extremely important. And they get familiar with you, right? Or the salesperson who's going to take the call, which makes it actually easier to jump on a call. Because think about it, right? Let's say you've got 2 scenarios. In scenario 1, you have to jump on a call with your friend. And in scenario 2, you have to jump on a call with some salesperson, right? Which one do you think you have higher chances on jumping on a call? Which scenario do you think is better? The friend one or the salesperson, right? Obviously the friend, because you actually know your friend, right? So this is what we're doing here. We are making sure the prospect is getting familiar with us, right? So yeah, this is what happens in step 1. And by the way, guys, what I'm sharing here is just the tip of the iceberg, okay? We've got a bunch of stuff reserved for our private clients inside my iOS program. And we give you access to all the strategies, systems, frameworks, build out this entire SHOP system I'm showing you, and all the other systems you would need to scale to 20K, 50K, or even 100K months. And if you would like to learn more about it, just click the first link in the description, and there's a video explaining every goddamn thing. So coming back to the steps, this is what happens in step 1. Now you might be wondering, I've mentioned here that the setter or the closer does this step, okay? Now, how do you decide who conducts this process, right? It just depends on who is closing, okay? So for example, if you are the closer, in this scenario, the setter continues the conversation because the setter is, in most cases using your own account. But if it's a closer, you ask the setter to message the prospect about the closer, okay? Then the closer basically just sends a WhatsApp message to the prospect, iMessage, and it can be in different formats, okay? A video message, text message, or a voice message. And you just ask your closers to update you regarding the same. So as you can see, we ask all our closers to update that they have actually sent a message to the prospect just so we can confirm these things. And then they just continue the conversation and keep you posted. All right. And it will really help you if you can actually create some mini SOPs like this, where you talk about, how to initiate the conversation with the prospect. Yeah, what to do day before the call, what to do 1 hour before the call, 15 minutes before the call, some conversational tips from your own experience, and how to address specific situations. If you can provide this level of information to your salespeople or your setters, then they will definitely perform way better. And again, as you might have already guessed, you actually get access to this in the iOS program, okay? But yeah, that is step 1, which is the nurturing conversation. Now, step 2 is sending them pre-call emails with nurturing assets. Now, this is absolutely crucial for warming up prospects before the call. And I'm surprised, literally surprised to see how most coaches still do not do this in 2026. Right? Now, you might be wondering, what's the goal of these nurturing assets? Well, simple, pre-sell the prospect, okay? And I'm sure you've heard these phrases on your sales calls before. So I want to see more results. What if this process doesn't work? Yeah. Now, what you do in these situations is solve these by sending them specific assets, right? So for example, to solve this specific objection, what you can do is send them 2 relevant case studies or interviews. Okay, now the structure for the case studies or interviews, if you want to record them, can be simple as this, right? So you first talk about, with your client, you talk about where they were before working with you, why they were stuck, where are they now, and how you help them get to where they are right now. Super simple, nothing fancy, right? Now to solve this objection, you can actually send them one objection handling video, which actually just destroys all their old beliefs. So think about it, like why would someone ask you this? What if this process doesn't work? It's simple, because they have some doubts about your process. Now, why do they have doubts about your process? It's simply because their old beliefs are getting in the way of the new beliefs, which you are actually talking about in the sales call. Yeah. So this is why you need to make sure you're sending them an asset that actually just destroys all their old beliefs. Yeah. Now this can be the structure for this objection handling video. So first you talk about what most people think about how you help people and how you can just take all the questions you get after you describe your process on the sales call. Then you describe what you actually do and why you do it and how it exactly helps people. This is a perfect structure to create an objection handling video that you can send to people before they even hop on a call with you, so you do not get any objections like these. Okay, so sending them beforehand prevents objections on calls, just like I said. Now, your pre-call email should include call reminders plus these nurturing assets. Okay, most people's pre-call emails just include reminders, and then they wonder why people actually are showing up cold to the calls. Yeah, this is why you need to include nurturing assets in your specific pre-call email. All right, now this is a simple email structure you can follow for pre-call emails. So simply for email number 1, the goal is to send booking details plus nurturing assets. So make sure you're only talking about those 2 specific things in email number 1. In email 2, you just send them a call reminder, and then email 3, you just send them a call reminder plus completion reminder, because sometimes people do not have the time or they just forget to actually consume the assets. So it would actually help you if you could send them asset completion reminders. Okay, now that is step 2. When we move to step 3, it's actually making sure they consume the assets. Because guys, obviously sending those assets is of no use if they don't actually consume it, right? Now this is how you make sure they consume those assets. So during the nurturing convo, what you can do is ask your setters or your closers, confirm with the prospect if they've actually first received the assets. Because sometimes, emails don't get sent or they land in the spam folder. So your prospect should be able to actually see the emails first, right? Before even consuming the assets, obviously. Now, after you've confirmed if they received the assets, what you need to do is explain them why you've sent is important. Okay, this actually gives them a reason to consume it, because as humans, we need reasons to do something. Yeah, you don't just do anything blindly. You're not watching this video because of no reason. Yeah, you're watching this video because you want to improve your show rate. Yeah, so this is why you need to position those assets as like how it will actually help them to be able to give them a reason to actually consume it. Now, once you do that, make sure you also confirm at least 3 hours before the call if they've consumed the assets, and you do this via DMs and the email which I told you earlier in step 2. Now here's a little nurturing asset creation tip. Please keep them under 20 minutes each, or at least explain the most important parts in the first 20 minutes, because again, people do not really have a lot of time to go through a 1 hour long video. People might just skip it, yeah, and they will just lie to you on sales calls about consuming it completely. So make sure this doesn't happen by keeping the length right around 15 to 20-ish minutes. Okay, now that is step 3, and the last step is the no-show process. So after you do all these 3 steps, yeah, and if the person still doesn't show up, what you need to do is firstly, wait for 5 minutes on the call at least, because sometimes people get late and they're not able to text you about that. So at least wait for 5 to 10 minutes on the call. And if they still not show up, firstly, what happens is your closer messages the setter to message the prospect on the platform they're talking on regarding the call, that the person is waiting on the call, advisor is waiting on the call, anything like that. So are you not showing up? What's happening? Stuff like that. Yeah, then the closer also sends the prospect the email that they entered in the booking form. Make sure you send the email to that specific email address. Yeah, you send them an email telling them that you're waiting for them on the call, and if it still doesn't work, if these 2 options do not work, then you ring them twice. Okay, you just ring them on WhatsApp or just normal call. Okay, now while you're doing all this, just wait for another 5-ish minutes. Okay, now if they still don't show up, then unfortunately they're probably not going to show up to the call. So in that scenario, you do not just ghost the prospect, you send them in a 1-week DM reminder sequence, and either your setter or your closer can follow the sequence. Okay, now here's the structure for this 1-week DM reminder sequence. Okay, so day one, you just tell them about the call. Yeah, so I waited for you on the call. Then you just basically ask them what happened. On day 3, you actually follow up for day 1 if they don't reply to day 1's message. On day 6, you actually send them case studies and tell them this could be them, right? Basically, the goal here is to make them feel FOMO, because when people feel FOMO, they actually want to hop on a call again. Yeah. Lastly, on day 7, ask if they really need help. If they did not reply to any of these messages, then you just ask them, if they actually need help or you're just wasting your time. And you can be a bit nonchalant and a bit arrogant here, because people need to value your time. Okay, they need to see that, and this can only be done if you act a bit nonchalant. Yeah, so that's the 1-week DM reminder sequence. If they still don't reply with this 1-week DM reminder sequence, just push them to long-term email nurturing sequence, which is gonna nurture them throughout and probably make them hop on a call with you. Okay, so yeah, that's the show up rate system we use for a client that has resulted in a 71% closing rate, okay, and a 70 to 90% show up rate, making sales calls way easier. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed what I shared. And if you did like this video, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And let me know if you've got any questions or any video ideas in the comments, okay? So that's pretty much it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace, bye.